What happened to the rudder? What did we remove this time? Dropping anchor. All of this and more in Drydock Update number 1 for the USS KIDD. But first, if you enjoy this video, give us a like. Sharing is caring, so share with someone you think would enjoy it too. If you've been following along on our channel, then you know that KIDD entered drydock on August 13th. This is the first time that she's been drydocked for hull work since 1962 in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. When they decided to decommission her, she got a quick visit to the drydock in 1964 to plate over her through-hull openings, but no other work was done. That's 62 years. This yard period is a long time coming. First Battleship Texas, then the New Jersey, now KIDD. You people have a serious rudder fixation and it's not healthy. You may wish to consult your doctor. Remember, the first step to recovery is admitting there is a problem. Answer first, explanation to follow. Answer: the rudder did not rot off of the KIDD. We've gained a lot of new subscribers since April. Welcome aboard and thanks for joining us. So I'll say it again. Listen closely. The rudder did not rot off of the KIDD. Back in the last week of April, divers from Budwine & Associates trimmed approximately 3 to 4 feet off of the bottom of our rudder to allow KIDD to exit her cradle because of the silt buildup on the riverbed astern of her. Why does it look so jagged? Well, you try cutting a straight line with less than 4 inches of visibility in a river with the nickname the Big Muddy. If you haven't done it, then stop critiquing our diving friends, please and thank you. Fletcher-class destroyers were known to have undersized rudders during World War II as compared to the thrust put out by the 30,000 horsepower on each of her twin propellers. Even Iowa-class battleships could make tighter turns when at speed. Every Fletcher like KIDD that was reactivated for the Korean War in 1951 was refitted with an enlarged rudder to compensate for this deficiency. So, how do we proceed from here? Option 1. We return the missing piece, putting the rudder back the way it was. Or, option 2, we take advantage of the drydock opportunity and downsize the rudder back to World War II specs to match our August 1945 restoration target date. There are many variables to consider, and this is a cosmetic and an educational issue, not an actual usage issue, since KIDD will never sail under her own power again. Any additional work beyond that already planned at this point depends on donations. So the only way to vote on this issue is to go to USSKIDD.com and donate. The equipment on the fantail, or stern, of the ship has now been completely removed and stowed on the floor of the drydock for eventual blasting and painting. This includes the depth charge tracks, the spare racks for the depth charges, the 20mm gun tubs, the 20mm guns themselves, davits, deck hatch, scuttle, bits, bollard, and the access hatch above the steering gear room. As you can see here, it looks quite bare. Just as soon as the equipment was completely off, ThomaSea began cutting off the rotted decking. Check out our earlier project update videos to learn more about the cause and localization of the advanced corrosion on the fantail decking. That nationwide search for blueprints that we previously mentioned has finally borne fruit. Through the middle of August, ThomaSea's fabricators began assembling the twin and quad 40mm gun foundations. By the first week of September, all 4 foundations were completed and welded into place. When the guns return from the Battleship Texas workshop, they'll now be able to be properly mounted as they were in World War II, rather than being welded directly to the deck. Speaking of fabrication, the creation of period-authentic louvers for the supply and exhaust ventilation ports continues. This will prevent rainwater from entering the ports and causing interior corrosion. The expanded metal covers from our museum mod covers is being reused as a backing for the louvers, preventing incursions of rodents into the interior of the ship. We didn't stop with the removal of the fantail equipment. In the first week of September, we removed much of the exterior equipment from the bridge level and transported it back to Baton Rouge for restoration. This included the torpedo directors, the 40mm gun directors, the pelorises, yes, that's how you say it, a set of big eyes binoculars, telescopes, and a compass. We also loaded the Fantail 20mm on the truck for transport back to the warehouse. Both pirates were removed from the forward smokestack, not necessarily for restoration, as they were both renewed rather recently, but rather for the protection of the artwork from the blasting and painting of the superstructure in the near future. We don't want that artwork lost, as the World War II crew gave it their seal of approval as our most accurate reproduction of their pirates that we've yet achieved. Special thanks to volunteer Master Chief Fred Enders, who drove down to Houma specifically to personally and safely transport the pirates back home. Speaking of blasting and painting, the yard has been busily wrapping and taping all of our exterior, wiring, and lighting. Kid looks ready for Halloween, a viewing of the Beetlejuice sequel, or both. Prior to beginning blasting of the hull, the shipyard thoroughly documented and marked our 1945 hull number locations. The numbers shifted locations in each of the 3 different World War II camouflage schemes. The Measure 22 camo pattern was also marked. As we rotate between camo schemes over the next 10 years in our educational efforts to teach the purpose of all 3 camo types, we'll be better able to return to Measure 22 at the end of that cycle. The draft marks, numerals both Roman and Arabic, were also marked, and the bridge scoreboard was documented. Our 2 26-foot whaleboats were removed at the same time as the bridge equipment and the 20mm. They were stowed shoreside for a week before being lifted, loaded, and transported to nearby Drydock Shipyard in Houma for restoration. In the area of museum mods, the spare metal cage beneath the aft portside life raft rack, say that 3 times fast, has been removed so that it returns to its World War II configuration. The restoration of the Stewards berthing continues. The Dumbwaiter shaft has now been removed from the first platform, as well as the divider wall, opening up the entire space as it existed in World War II. The lower ladder to the second platform has been removed for relocation, as has its watertight hatch and coaming. That opening has now been welded shut. The main deck level of the Dumbwaiter shaft has been partially removed inside the deckhouse. More to come in this area in future updates. The wasted metal repair is now complete in enlisted berthing C201L, aka the sewing room, where water leaks in the overhead scuttle cumulatively eroded the decking. New metal has been welded into place on the deck and adjacent bulkhead, and the welds have been tested for integrity. All of the work and research from October to April on our prep of the anchor windlass came to fruition on Friday, August 30th, when we lowered both anchors to the dry dock floor. We then played out the 90 and 120 fathoms of anchor chain on each side to empty out the chain locker. Why? Simple. To determine if any saltwater residue has corroded the decking and bulkheads inside the locker since her time in service. A brief foray into the locker afterward revealed only a small amount of deterioration, much better than what was expected. The locker would be blasted, repaired, and painted, with both anchors and chains all blasted and painted before returning everything to its proper place.
We must get you to your ship.
Meantime, the blasting has begun on the ship's hull from main deck down to the keel. As expected from an 81-year-old hull, there is some pitting, and some perforations have been opened in thin spots because of the blasting. She was built with an average of 3/8 of an inch after all, thicker in some areas, thinner in others. There is a common dry docking occurrence. You always expect it to be more than what you can see on the surface, which is why we continue to call for donations, because we want to make Kidd better than the bare minimum. We want her to last well beyond her 100th birthday and not kick the can down the road to future shipkeepers. If you think like we do, then visit USSKIDD.com to donate and support this dry docking effort. Remember to also like, subscribe, and share. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.